I just can't, I don't know what to say. Yesterday was so damn hot I couldn't even think. So I'm here in my backyard to basically say thank you to everyone who commented about the inaccuracies in my SQ5 video, because I drove last generation's SQ5. I know it doesn't have a dual clutch. I know it has a ZF8. I just don't know what was in me the other day, other than to say there are two places I've lived in where I learned new things. The first one was in Northern Virginia, and they had this thing called BSI, also known as the ball sweat index. They talked about it on the radio all the time. You know, oh, it's going to be hot in DC. The BSI is 9.5. But here in Austin, Texas, we have swamp ass. And it gets really hot and really humid, and basically, believe it or not, you're going to end up with some swamp ass. And yesterday was so damn hot that the BSI was past 11, and swamp ass was definitely kicking in. And, you know, I don't drink, so it's not like I can cool down with a beer or go have a margarita and cool off. And, well, I don't know, but it came out like it did. I just basically kept rattling around with facts that aren't facts. So here is the Redux, Apocalypse Now Redux version of the SQ5. And I want to thank all my subscribers and commenters for challenging and correcting me. So here's the updated version.
Well, happy Father's Day weekend. Today is actually Saturday, and as you can tell, it's crazy this weekend because it's so freaking hot out. I'm actually driving a Mini Countryman this week, but when Audi of South Austin called and said, hey, do you want to drive an SQ5? I said, hell yeah. So here we are. It's a 2018 Audi SQ5, which means it has a twin scroll turbo V6. Let's check it out. Now it looks a lot like a Q5 because basically it is a Q5. You can see the extra large wheels. We do have black brake calipers with an S logo on there somewhere. A little backstory to that is back in the day, you could get the Audi A6 with a supercharged engine, but the badging still said V6T for some reason, so people would pay extra for a supercharged badge. Now, it makes sense to keep it V6T. We're gonna unlock the trunk. Oh, by the way, those aren't real. I'm not disappointed because I really don't care. It's one less thing to clean. Here we actually have the standard roof rack. All Q5s and SQ5s come with a roof rack as standard. These are the floor mats. Not a big deal right now, but let's go over the stats. 3-liter V6, 354 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. So the base price is $54. This is actually the standard SQ5. By standard, I mean all SQ5s are already Premium Plus. You can go one level higher, which is called Prestige. This is not the Prestige. This is sort of run-of-the-mill SQ5, so we're going to check it out. We have the fine Napa leather interior and navigation, 21-inch wheels, Bang & Olufsen, which I always recommend, and total price, $62,935. Again, I'm going to say only $62,900, so 63 grand puts you into a super ultra luxury SUV, all-wheel drive, obviously, and plenty of toys. But the most important thing here is, well, it's Father's Day, so what better thing to do than drive sort of the daddy of SUVs. Let's check it out. Okay, well, it is exceptionally hot outside, so let's start this puppy up. Oh, that's nice. Let's get the AC going, but while it does that, why don't I cut to the exterior camera and show you what the revs are like. Awesome. Get my seatbelt on, of course. Why don't you go ahead and give me a thumbs up for putting my seatbelt on? We know that that's a good thing to do, right? We're a little low on fuel here, but nothing I can't handle. Now, of course, there is the Q5, which is the 4-cylinder turbo. That also has Quattro. All Q5s have Quattro. It's going to be fun, so let's check this out. I wish there was more noise to put on camera, but this thing is really quiet. I can't really explain why it's so quiet. It could be a lot of things going on here, but oh yes. Oh, it's got a nice little bark at around 3,500 RPM when it changes gears. It's not necessarily earth-shattering gear change, but let's go this way. Woohoo! Okay, I can't stop being so giddy about this thing. I have virtual cockpit, which is new in all the Audis now. Every 2017 or 2018, except for the A8 and the A6, they all have virtual cockpit as an option where you can expand the display here in the center to go to something like a different gauge setup, or even just show the map. So you can do map full screen just by going to this tab here and then hitting view. You have all sorts of different ways to look at it, which is cool because now you can see I have redundant displays with different zoom levels, which is nice to have. I don't even know what mode I'm in. I'm in Sport Dynamic. Wow. Now some of you may be on the fence between the SQ5 and the S5 Sportback. Well, some of the options on the S5 Sportback include, actually they're standard massage seats. You cannot get the panoramic sunroof in the S5 Sportback though. So if you like the pano roof, then you're gonna have to get the SQ5. Not a bad thing. You can also get the adaptive suspension. This one might have it. I didn't really look, but you can always get that as an option in either the SQ5 or the S5 Sportback. But let's get on the freeway, see how this thing is at highway speeds as far as road noise and handling and manners. It shouldn't be much of a surprise. It should just be straight and smooth and even. Once this traffic clears, we're good to go. Of course, it is Saturday in Austin, and it is 97 degrees outside, so people can't really think straight. They do really stupid stuff when it gets hot out here. I don't blame them. You can't really think going from AC to heat to AC to heat. It doesn't really work. And then you get into a really hot car like this. Okay, let's go. Seems like fun. I think I actually like the low ride of the S5 Sportback much better than this. And another thing I've been thinking about too with the Mini Countryman that I have for this week is that, you know, there are new studies out there with SUV headlights, and they're being ranked from great to bad, and not very many SUVs are actually getting good rankings. Only 2 did. And I'm not sure how this new Q5 runs in that lineup because this is brand new. This actually just came to the US, so we've only had this car in the US for 2 weeks. I find it very hard that there could be a study on it. Anyway, as you can tell on the freeway, it's a very smooth, very quiet ride at, even at 90-something miles an hour. A little fast there, I didn't even notice. Anyway, what you will find is that it's an SUV, it's pretty comfortable, it's shockingly fast. You don't notice it, and I said that when I drove the S4 as well. It doesn't sound as fast as you're going, which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on who you are and how many tickets you have. I think though, the practicality standpoint, you know, if you have little kids and you have to lift them up into the seats, but maybe they're perfectly capable of climbing in on their own, maybe the S5 Sportback would be better because it's easier for them to get in or out. And it's also easier for you because you have a lower load floor to the trunk, but you still have that hatch capability. But looking at it as a whole, you know, SUVs are pretty hot. I'm just kind of worn out with SUVs and trucks in general. I guess guess it would really come down to what your lease payment is going to be or how much you want to spend on a vehicle. But it turns out these things, the SQ5 and the S5 Sportback, even the Q5 and the A5 Sportback, they're pretty much the same price. You can equip them to the same level and they would cost you the same amount of money. So what would I prefer? I would prefer the sexier A5 or S5 Sportback to the standard traditional family looking SUV. But being that it is Father's Day weekend, it is nice to open up a V6 SUV, which is very rare these days, and tell you that this is still sporty. It's got great brake feel. It's got good road manners. It's quieter than before. And let's see how it is through this corner here. One of these infamous Texas turnarounds. That's 27. 39. Oh, yeah. I think if your kids are into exciting things, they'll love you for getting one of these. Little hump. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, maybe you still need an SUV if the roads near you completely suck, or maybe you just don't want to have to worry about scraping your bumper on a lower vehicle. Yes. Okay, get the SUV. It's really hard to rank SUVs, especially because they're so emotional. But that's the interesting part. Most of them are now 4-cylinder turbos. Hardly any of them are full-time 4-wheel drive. Well, let's see how it is on passing. It's not bad. It's not the same as the old SQ5 with the supercharged V6, but this has more power. So what you're not getting is this audible sense of speed. There's no wind noise. Uh-oh. That says, please refuel immediately, range 0 miles. Well, I'm gonna head back to the dealer now. I really want to thank Audi of South Austin for letting me drive one. Hopefully I'll get there in time. Here's the exit. But there it is, the SQ5, a hotter, spicier version of the Q5, and definitely a slightly taller version of the S5 Sportback. It really depends on the road quality near you, but prices are the same, relatively, and pick a color. I mean, these things are awesome. Thanks for watching.